What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the second album by pop singer Ariana Grande. Basically, this product is called My Everything, and it came out in the summer of 2014. The thing about this particular product is this is a follow-up to Yours Truly from 2013, which was a pretty good pitch. Ariana Grande had kind of dropped some like buzz singles, pitches like that in the early 2010s, but particularly, I don't want to say she was an industry plant, but she was a surprise hit singer that kind of stemmed out of nowhere back in 2013. She was a surprise hit singer that stemmed out of 2013 as far as those pitches can happen. It's a pretty awesome concept. I thoroughly enjoyed Yours Truly. Definitely an excellent album. But this is probably more of an excellent album here. This is definitely a classic here. Very signature product of like the early 2010s and mid 2010s that I'd say just did a lot of damage. Pretty much, I mean, this was said to have gone quadruple platinum, which is pretty, like, considering all the damage that this product did, I'm surprised it didn't go further than that, but it's still a pretty good pitch for 2014, because not a ton of albums were kind of doing that, but this had a lot of appeal, got to the 5th single, had a couple songs with over 1 billion plays on Spotify, like Bang Bang, and I want to say Break Free, some of those type ones. Maybe there was like another one. Oh yeah, One Last Time was a pretty big deal. So the thing about this particular album is just the fact that it tries some particular type styles. It has some traditional pop. Around this particular time, folks like Jessie J and Meghan Trainor were kind of popular, who were more folks that were kind of doing like traditional type pop, more things like All About That Bass and some of those type ones that just kind of felt like not necessarily doo-wop, but just kind of more ballroom type pop, I'd say, just within the sense behind it. And there's also some leftover EDM on here. Songs like Break Free and Love Me Harder, some of those type pitches. So it's just a good amalgamation of some of the styles that were kind of changing. It's pretty actually trendy to like the mid 2010s just within the pitch behind it. I'd look after it, more so than Yours Truly, which was just kind of an album that had like traditional pop and like a pseudo kind of harnessing Mariah Carey type feel. I feel like this particular product kind of had, this one has some more styles that fleshed out Ariana Grande as far as being like a bankable kind of star, just being able to say that she actually, just within the pitch, considering that she was kind of a rookie just the year before, just going from like May, June of 2013 to August, September 2014. It was just the fact that she became one of the faces of pop music and R&B music as far as those pitches kind of happen. So it's just a concept with just an album and a half or 2 albums here, just within 4 or 5 singles, she got to that stardom pretty damn quickly. Just a lot of these hit number 1, number 2, some of those type pitches, just real high appeal. Just had an excellent type concept with these, just 1-2 punch of these particular 2 albums. Good, excellent type fare. I look after it. So this is a huge album, and the pitch behind it, some good times. Got some features on here. Nicki Minaj is on here. Jessie J's on here. The Weeknd's on here. Good appeals just behind some of this. I want to say like the Break Free song might have been a Zed song, not as full blown sure, but I look after it, it's just a good pitch. But Big Sean is on here again, Childish Gambino is on here, A$AP Ferg, some of these type folks. Iggy Azalea is on here, and she was kind of in her prime in 2014. That was one of her breakout years as far as those pitches kind of happened. But I look after it, just being able to say, so yeah, there were 5 singles off this particular product, just being able to look after it, and I have to say that a lot of these charted pretty heavily. I want to say at least Problem. I'm not sure. I mean, I could look it up, but I want to say that like Break Free was a pretty huge song. I want to say that was at least a top 5 single. Love Me Harder might have gotten pretty high. Bang Bang was like a top 3 single from what I remember. Problem might have hit number 1, and One Last Time was pretty relatively large. So all 5 of these singles did pretty excellent damage, but I'll go ahead and talk about them. So Problem is the first single. It's like a traditional kind of pop ballroom kind of vanilla dance gem to kind of get here. Definitely reminds me of Meghan Trainor from around that time, late 2014, 2015, when she first came on the scene, and this like a fizzy pop kind of gallivant of a song to kind of get. So it's just the concept, just a more advancement of what Ariana Grande was kind of doing on the Yours Truly days. Not quite as like traditional piano like. I want to say that Ariana Grande can play the piano. I remember there were a number of songs that had the piano on that particular album. It's not on here as much as it was on that particular album, but I look after it, it does have some of that ballroom type flavor. It's kind of like a more traditional and graceful type version of like Mariah Carey, some of those type pitches, taking Mariah Carey from like 95 or 96, 97, then having like a more traditional kind of ballroom type feel about it, just in like that sort of aspect behind it. Not quite 50s, 60s, but just within the tone and just a little bit more tuxedo-like type music, but this is one of those type ones. There's some other ones on here that kind of have that, like, the Only One is one of those type ones. I'm reviewing the deluxe edition, so we'll get to some of those type ones, but this has some of that type fare. Just kind of the concept that I do still feel like Ariana Grande is relatively dainty on this particular product, which is a good concept just because she's like one of the more vanilla, like when you think of obviously folks like Meghan Trainor, Taylor Swift, some of these type folks that just are super dainty, kind of tapioca just within the tone. But I mean, she does, like, Ariana does step out more comparatively. Ariana Grande does have more haze about this particular product more so than the previous one. I mean, the last one, it was, yours truly was vanilla, and that was an excellent album, just to be able to say. I'm not complaining as if to say that being vanilla is within the pitch. It's a good concept, but it's just a concept when you think of, like, compared to, like, Pink or Iggy, when you think of Pink or Iggy Azalea or Kelly Clarkson or Avril Lavigne, some of those type of folks, Ariana's, vanilla, but I look after just within the tone. I would have to say there's some stuff on here where she really starts to hone, like, her melody. She really gets a lot more comfortable on this particular product. This Problem song was just a real smash hit that came on the scene just effectively and pretty just vastly just within the tone behind it. So this was overnight, this really had that stretch appeal. This is an album that lasted, the promotion of it lasted into early 2015, so pretty much between about the spring of 2014 about the winter, spring of 2015, I'd say good appeal for that. But Break Free was the second single. It's like an EDM kind of radio grab, I'd have to say, tailored for makeshift commerce. I would definitely feel like this is one that was on, like, Good Morning America and places like that, just standard Target and Starbucks type radio commerce, some of those type of appeals, I'd have to say. It's like a traditional kind of SFW commercial bop kind of get here, and it's pretty catchy kind of get. So it's just the concept, kind of a relatively, I don't want to say awkward type one, but just kind of late in the cycle for EDM as far as those pitches going to happen, considering that it was starting to phase out after about spring, summer 2014, as far as that particular kind of went, just within the tone to how much folks were kind of messing with it. It's a good type grab to kind of get here, and it does have the appeal. It doesn't sound worn out. It just feels like yesteryear compared, but I do think that Ariana Grande nailed this particular song, so it's a good type pitch. It was a pretty huge song. I want to say that this song hit like a billion plays on Spotify, one of these type ones. I think it was one last time and Bang Bang at least, but this definitely had some pretty high appeal. So a lot of this album was just 2010s. I mean, this is a good huge streaming highlight. Bang Bang is the third single. Now this is kind of a Jessie J song. I reviewed this song last year when I reviewed Jessie J's album. This is more her album more so than Ariana Grande, but considering the humongousness of it, I'm gonna kind of halfway talk about it. Basically, if you didn't see the Jessie J review, it's like a follow-up kind of SFW makeshift commute of a song to kind of get here. Just a huge mid-2010 smash kind of saying this just has like an everyday type feel. This is probably the most SFW of the singles on here for the most part. I just would say this is like a typical kind of this shopping mall and just kind of Good Morning America kind of morning commute and brunch traffic to kind of get just within the aspect as far as that particular kind of goes along with it. Just real makeshift friendly, just within the tone. Good combination with Break Free, a little bit more traditional, a little bit more composed than Break Free or some of these type ones, but it does have that appeal. So I would say all five of the singles basically have like a degree of SFW about it. These are ones that I do feel like at least Love Me Harder, Break Free, Problem. This is kind of within the tone that it's SFW, but it's kind of within the pitch that it does have like the commute of just not having to be complete in front of like a work cycle, just doing amidst like the works. It's not complete amongst like a cubicle doing nose deep into work as far as those pitches can happen. I would just say it was just a good tone for some of that, just good background noise pitches like that. But yeah, Love Me Harder is the fourth single. It's like a chugging kind of commerce drear, I'd feel like about this one. Just typical kind of commerce drear malaise, I'd have to say. Typical, this is like some chugging kind of commerce drear, I'd have to say. It's like some malaise, typical of like the Weeknd style, good pitch for that. It's a good cameo on him on here. He nails this song, as does Ariana. It's good concept of that, and it's like has some mild EDM brush about it. So this is another type one. It's a late cycle. I want to say this song might have hit number one. This is one that has some surprising kind of radio appeal even today. I mean, for the most part, you don't typically kind of hear four singles on most standard pop radio. I mean, for the most part, you'd think it'd probably be songs like Problem, Break Free, Bang Bang, some of those type ones. But just the fact that you can hear like the fourth and fifth singles, Love Me Harder and One Last Time, is pretty good pitch about this project. So yeah, it's had that relative feel. This real melodic type one, this real affable type composition about it. This one's just a little bit more traffic. This is just kind of more stretching traffic type one to kind of get, but it does have that good appeal. Just like a good, just feel good song, just within a sense, just in an anguish type sense. So it has that good appeal, typical of like Weeknd, I'd have to say. Then One Last Time is a nice one. Now this is like a makeshift kind of dance club noise kind of get here. This one's kind of like Break Free, just a little bit more actually on the dance club and a little bit more loosened up. I'd say this song still has some SFW about it, but it's also like the initial kind of loosen up of just just gotten done with it, or just like the concept of like maybe you have some work pals, co-workers with you, something like that. Just kind of some work party type music. I'd have to say if you're at the job but you're just kind of not working, some pitches like that, work party type fare, just a vanilla bop to kind of get some of those type of tones just within the pitch. But I look after it. I mean, some of these, they're vanilla in the sense of the concept, but a lot of this just had like that huge kind of commercial appeal, but just within the pitch of like just having like a lot. I do think the social score is probably going to get a pretty high score as well. I'd have to say just within the casual appeal, how many of these social type songs are just on here. Just Ariana Grande. Really, this is the larger album from Yours Truly. Yours Truly was definitely a pretty good debut, but it was just more traditional pop. This one really has a lot more just vivacious kind of light. This album just has a lot more vivacious and kind of vibrant type. This album just has a lot more vivacious and kind of vibrant type moods and settings to kind of go within the pitch of how much it displays, I'd have to say. So it's a good concept for that. But yeah, so basically I'm reviewing the deluxe edition. There's 15 songs. I realize that there's a couple extra songs on here from the Target edition, which is like Cadillac song and Too Close. Makes me question. I haven't heard those songs. I would assume that they'd probably be relatively good. But yeah, I am going to give this album a 10 out of 10. Really, on the deluxe edition, the standard deluxe edition, I think those Target songs would probably be pretty excellent, but I'm just going to review the deluxe edition, I'd say. But out of the 15 songs on here, I'd say that basically there are only 2 songs I didn't recommend. Really only 1 song I didn't recommend, because the intro is not really as much a song as much as it is just like an interlude kind of stuff that just has some singing on there. Basically the only song I don't recommend in any fashion is just the title track, My Everything. I'd have to say just within the pitch behind it, but every other song I recommend. So this album gets a 10 out of 10. Just really kind of blitzing overall classic appeal. This did a lot of things right. The melodies on here are pretty excellent. I've listened to the song quite a bit throughout the 2010s, pitches like that. It's a good staple of an album. Very important seminal album out of the 2010s. It's really had the appeal. Yes, everything that Ariana Grande did, she exploited further on this particular project, and it just is a sizable update, and it just was able to like evolve on top of that as far as getting some of these styles. And the casual appeal is more vanilla and just within the pitch, where it just has like everyday type feel. It works for like blue collar type fare, and it just has the concept of just being like out and about and not being isolated to the point where it's just kind of dull or something like that. So it just has a lot of good affability. Or I think I remember saying on Yours Truly that it needed more songs like Right There and some of those type ones, like the song, like the singles off of Yours Truly. Some of those have pitches like the Mac Miller song and the Big Sean song, and some of those type songs that were the 3 singles that were on Yours Truly. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and talk about some of these. So Why Try is a pretty excellent type one. It's like an electronic kind of excitement for some night thrills. I'd feel like just a balmy and kind of smarmy type mood. This is a very exuberant type song kind of get here. Ariana Grande sounds really melodic and excellent on this particular song. It's just kind of an after task kind of unwind from, it's just kind of an after task kind of unwind to some standard fare, just basic kind of workaday type fare, I'd say, and it's just good for some outings. Just in the pitch, this would probably be a good song to go along with Love Me Harder. I'd have to say within that pitch, the same sort of song, same sort of afternoon or evening, just within that tone, just real exuberant type feel about it that works extremely well. More dance club type fare is Break Your Heart type. More dance club type fare is Break Your Heart Right Back. This says Childish Gambino on here. This is a song I enjoyed back in the day. Real good concept of this one. It's like a jazzy kind of DJ Mustard like ratchet pop tune kind of get here. It's in the tone. I mean, this production is not produced by DJ Mustard, but has that ratchet type feel. It's interesting kind of get Ariana Grande doing like some like R and bass and ratchet type music just within a pop type fare of it. Good concept, good flavor, I'd have to say. It's like a good dance appeal about this particular song. Very catchy kind of get this one. Childish Gambino shows up on this particular song. Yeah, this song just has some good flavor about it. Just excellent type fare to kind of get with some of this. Just snappy type one. This probably has like the most loosened up type fare about it, I'd have to say. I'd probably say apart from maybe Break Free and One Last Time, this is probably the one that has like the most kind of bite about it. And I actually think this song's a little bit more vicious than those 2 singles. I'd say this is a little bit one that's less SFW in mine, where it is kind of not as much, where you could probably have some drinks in your system and just be a little bit tipsy just within the fare behind it. Was just within the tone. Hands on Me is another nice one for that sort of fare. I'd say this is like a real hype kind of dance turn up, I'd feel like here. Nice Egyptian flavor about this particular one. Has like some melodic kind of, this is a melodic type song. Real nice melodies on here. Good night groove to kind of get, and it's like a good song to get crunk and tipsy to as far as that would kind of happen. So yeah, it's just a good tone, kind of have some of this just to step out just within that fare. Just for the aspect about this album, it's kind of like getting like a drinking song from like Michael Jackson or Prince, something like that. When you think of like this, I don't know if Ariana Grande was like iconic and like a household name as she immediately dropped this album, but the thing about it was that she did have like at least two top three singles before this album came out, so this was kind of the concept that she just kind of grew into the role pretty quickly. But I would have to say it's just within the same tone of getting like some of these party type songs, like when you would think if Michael Jackson were to have like a keg stand type song, something like that, or the hard liquor type songs, is kind of the appeal that some of these type ones, they're not like they're not unlike Ariana Grande, but this is kind of the aspect that she does kind of have like a loosen up side, which is a pretty excellent type pitch, because it wasn't on yours truly that much. It was just a good tone. This is like a pretty ubiquitous type album. It just is within the pitch that you do get some of these type ones that it's probably like the heaviest song on this particular album. It's just a good type fare for that, but I look after it. It's a good nice ones. Just a little bit of Your Heart's a nice one, as well as like a brooding kind of anguish day slag to kind of get here. I'd feel like nice personality shade to kind of get within that tone. That's like a vanilla but kind of moody type song to kind of have. So it's basically like something The Weeknd would do, just with like that shade of just kind of like darkness. It's just kind of something The Weeknd would do, just within that shade of just kind of a hazy type factor about it. Just a little bit more forlorn, some of that typeness, just sullen a little bit. I really do like the appeal behind this one. Just kind of a more, just kind of a more brooding type day to kind of get. I do like the tone behind this. Probably need another song like this on here. I think this album probably need another song like Hands on Me, just to get more crunk a little bit. And I'd also say this album probably need another song like Just a Little Bit of Your Heart, but it nails it for what it does. I'd say Be My Baby is a nice one. It's like a vintage kind of Ariana from like the Yours Truly days, I'd have to say. It's a frou-frou kind of pop daintiness about this particular song here. Just a vanilla step out type song kind of get, and it's pretty emphatic, I'd have to say. So this reminds me definitely of Mariah Carey, some of those type tones just within the pitch, just a dramatic and kind of graceful type fare. Just something that would be like prom music for grade school pitches like that, or college, some of those type fares just within the pitch. Just like this more romanticized kind of, I would almost say princess type music, but just within the tone, just something a little bit more graceful just within the tone. It's a good concept to have some of this relative type appeal. Good sensibleness about it. Nice glitz about this song as well. Best Mistake is a quality one. This is like a ruffled kind of evening commute to kind of get here. It's probably one of the more out of the ordinary songs on this particular project. Just kind of an after work shift, kind of preoccupied type tone about this one. Just tasks, just kind of preoccupied tasks to get to. Just kind of ruffled type day, just ruminating, just some preoccupied tasks, kind of ruminating, I had to say. And this just kind of has some roused kind of vibes. So it's just within the tone, just bad hair day within a relative sense. Not necessarily like a horrible day, but it's kind of just quirky kind of day where you're just kind of a little bit like just struck a nerve type day, something like that, I'd have to suppose. It's a good concept, and not so much work as much as it is just like significant other, some pitches like that, just within the tone behind it, or interest as far as those pitches kind of happen, just what I'd say, just within the fare behind it. Quality song. Big Sean has a pretty fiery verse on this particular one. He really nailed this one. I don't know if he wrote that particular verse or if he freestyled that, but that was a pretty good verse that he had on there. Best Mistake. And Only One is a nice one. This is like a suave kind of dance venue noise. I'd have to say about this. More schmooze in mine than like dance floor. I would have to say it's more of like kind of just talk and enjoy the night more so than actually shake your ass in the dance club, I'd have to say, or the dance floor. It's just a good concept for that. But this song reminds me of Mariah Carey. I'd have to say it's some of the Mariah Carey kind of melodrama from like the 90s, some of that type fare. So this one throws it back to Yours Truly, some of those typeness. This is a good concept. It's a good pitch just because Ariana Grande does not have like her Yours Truly days on display on like the singles. It's kind of leftover type vibes. Just the pitch, if you do miss some of that type fare, it's just an advancement of it, but it does it pretty well. You Don't Know Me is a pretty nice one as well. It's like a darker version of like the Yours Truly singles. I'd say definitely reminds me of like Right There and Baby I and some of those type ones. The songs with Mac Miller, Big Sean, some of those type ones. It feels like a promo single, I would feel like here, and it's just hazier and kind of more murky than some of those type ones from Yours Truly. There's a good pitch behind it. Real nice catchy hook on this particular song. Good melodies on there. Kind of an in-between type one. This one doesn't feel as much like on the dance floor compared to some of these other type ones. But yeah, it's real good. Yeah, this is a real good amalgamation of an album here. It has the particular good glitzy type fare about it. Some step out type songs, hangout type songs within a pitch behind it. It's kind of that melodrama of like Mariah Carey and Ariana Grande's early days, just had to say within the pitch. Just good classic R&B type album. Just really has liveliness about it, just a good aspect. I mean, I do think this album has some pretty good varieties about it as to how it's presented, I'd have to say. So it's a good pitch to kind of get that there. But yeah, so the sound gets a 10 out of 10. The social score is going to get a 10 out of 10 also. I just feel like the commercial bite of this product, I want to say that there were probably at least 4 or 5 top 10, top 15 singles on here, with maybe a couple of these hitting number one. Bang Bang, Love Me Harder, Break Free, and Problem were probably ones that really hit pretty extremely high on the charts, I'd have to say. So these are definitely some commercial highlights. I just think, this is one that helped cement kind of Ariana Grande as like a household name. She continues to have that. I want to say she has like 100 million followers, 50 million, something like that on Instagram, just that type of era. I mean, at this stage, Ariana Grande is known well enough to be able to say that, but just within the tone, this definitely, it just happened just with this album, and probably like Dangerous Woman, some of those type of eras, just within the tone. But yeah, just about 16 months between yours truly, between about the spring of 2013 to about the winter of 2015, all of a sudden she's like next huge face of pop music pitches like that. So it's an excellent type of era, but it did it. The work was done. So I look after it, just 10 social. In terms of the future, like Ariana Grande dropped an album in early 2024, so it's a good pitch. I want to say she put out like a deluxe also, something like that. Not really as full blown sure, but I want to say, yeah, I'm gonna start getting into some more of these, some of those type fairs, just within the tone behind it. There's like her 2016, 2018, 2019 albums, some of those type fairs. Actually, I think I did review like Thank You next. So there are some other ones to get to, but we're going to get to some of these type fairs. I will probably review some of these deluxe editions if they have more than 3 or 4 songs. I'll review some of these deluxe editions separately if they have more than 3 or 4 or 5 extra songs in there, I'd have to say, because I think that at least happened with their 2024 album, and then like the Positions album from 2020. So it's just good pitch behind it. But yeah, this is an easy classic, very seminal 2010s type album that just is pretty vanilla wise, SFW, and just overall just has a lot of social kind of appeal.